Unless you've been blissfully playing Apex Legends under a rock, you probably have heard about the drama. What drama? All the drama. I'll provide some examples later on in the video, but the gist of it is a clear divide between the casual community, such as Reddit, Facebook, YouTube, etc., and so-called good players. So not only your favorite streamers like it's Timmy, Aceu, or your favorite professional players, but anyone who hovers around maybe high diamond and masters. Hell, even people who don't play ranked but have a 4K or 20 kill badge gets lumped in with the rest of them. In this regard, Apex Legends is one of the most toxic cesspools that I've ever seen. I come from the games such as League of Legends, from Overwatch, from Counter-Strike, where skilled players are respected as players, as people, and their opinions are well respected within their communities. Maybe this stems from the fact that these games are more competitive leaning in nature, but I digress. Professional players who play this game at the highest level against other players at the highest level for more than full-time hours a day are being berated by the casuals on platforms like Reddit, like Facebook, like YouTube, who probably only play once a week. Their inputs on game balance, the way they approach the game, and even the way they play the game and providing for their audience is a problem for a majority of the casual community. Landing on predator trails and punching out in public matches, complaining that pros get what they want while the devs ignore what the casual community wants, to over-the-top hate against certain streamers and pros because they don't follow the casual hive mind are just some of the examples. In the last month or so, Reddit has put 3 competitive players under heavy scrutiny. Me, Rogue, and someone called Inhuman for things that have been tweeted or said, and it got to the point where people started receiving death threats. All because we approached the game with a different philosophy. Casual viewers believe that the pros are in the wrong, being whiny crybabies who are bad at the game and just do not want to adapt. They're hating on pros for leaving the games when knocked or finished, who are playing for themselves, or just flat out loathing them for just being skilled at their jobs. Apex Legends continues to be catered towards the lowest common denominator, the casual player, becoming easier and easier to pick up and do well in as a casual player, but at the meanwhile becoming more difficult to be a skilled player in as the casual player gets more and more crutches that bring more benefit and lets the bad player circumvent the downsides of their gameplay. Whereas the same tools have very little use in a skilled player's hand because they don't really need these crutches. Despite this clear power creep in the game, any changes that are leaning towards making it easier to compete on the highest level of Apex is instantly met by an uproar of the community. Thousands of people frothing at the mouths that the streamers get what they want, that the professional players have something changed to cater for their level of play in their lobbies. Brian, who plays the game for an hour after work, comes up with a bunch of backseating, patronizing, antagonizing excuses on how the pros should just be better, not understanding how the game operates in even a ranked lobby. My favorite example of this is when people were talking about removing or nerfing the gold knockdown. This item is inherently uncompetitive, and there were talks to rework it or just flat out nerf it or delete it, since a self-revive usually completely changed the outcome of tournament placings, where a knocked person would just keep hiding without self-reviving as the lobby died around him in endgame and giving him free placement points. Once the casual community caught wind of this, there was an outrage. I made a video covering this very briefly when it was relevant, but the amount of hate and comments that I got telling me and other professional players that we should just get better and kill a 15-second respawning person were staggering. There was no effort to understand the issue, but Respawn actually made a good choice here, and they just simply disabled the golden knockdown in competitive play. It just no longer drops in tournaments. Casuals chalked this up as a win, but were still pretty upset that a change that significantly improved the competitive integrity of the game was made, when all this development should be spent on something else. Presumably new lore, or guns, skins, voice scripts. I don't know what the casuals want. A frequent argument is that the developers should stop listening to the whining crybaby pros and instead listen to the casuals. I'm not sure what they're thinking, but it seems to be this belief that since pros don't know what they want, Respawn is expected to ask every casual player out of their millions of users what they think should happen with the game. They should be running an open poll, go to the streets, ask Brian, hey Brian, what do you guys think about the caustic gas damage? I don't know. Safe to say most of these takes are not really good, bought out, or whatever, because Brian plays an hour a week. Respawn already knows what's best for the casual player because they're looking at their data every single day. They see what works and what doesn't, and they make changes accordingly. A more controversial topic that comes up a lot more than balance changes is the topic of leaving public games. Personally, lately try to avoid leaving casual games when down, as it unnecessarily ticks off a lot of people, but a common complaint is that pros or streamers keep pushing in alone and then leaving the game if they get down or finished. But I have left a fair share of games, and many streamers, pros, and players trying to get better are the same. As a pro player, you want to maximize your playtime, and getting finished and waiting is a waste of time, and as a a content creator, you are not only wasting time from, getting better, making content, but you are wasting your time spectating your teammates, aimlessly flailing around, probably trying to grab you. The way Apex matchmaking works means that there's usually one good player and then the rest are significantly worse. Good players frequently get level 100 or level 10 teammates and are expected to carry against full stacks of Diamond or Predator. You can't really hate on people who don't feel like sitting that out. And while Respawn kind of tried to curb the problem with the no-fill feature, they couldn't go out a snarky remark about people leaving games. I can't for the life of me find a comment, but if someone has it, drop it in the comments below. No-fill does not work in Apex Legends for the same reason matchmaking doesn't work. At the highest SPMM bracket, you will be faced against full Diamond to Predator stacks. But as you're no-filling, you don't have the comfort of your teammates acting as bullet shields. You will be ran down as soon as they realize that you are a solo player. I don't care who you are, if you're Aceu, Timmy, or whatever. You can't realistically do 600 damage in a time 3 people have to do a collective of 200. This full free stack sending on you only has to do about 66 damage each to kill you, and you need to do about 10 times that damage while all 3 of them are focusing you. I could go around in circles for hours talking about what's going on, so don't just take it from me. Here's an oldie but goldie from Aceu and what he thinks about the casual community and why he quit Apex.
I've never read such a brain dead shout until I came to Apex Legends and I saw the people who watch Apex Legends. Like, Jesus Christ, I can't stand any of you guys. You guys want to know the reason I left? Because there's so many brain dead idiots that play this game, you casual Normandies. Jesus Christ. I feel like I need an entire, I need to be rebirthed to free myself from the things that I read during an Apex stream. It blows my mind that people can put up with you guys for more than 4 hours and not lose their mind.
Ottr, why are you talking about all this? Why is this all important? Go play pubs. Well, if left unaddressed, the Apex community may end up rotting from within, and it might actually end up flat out killing the game. Respawn currently has to dance through a minefield with every change to the game, trying to satisfy both the casuals and the professionals who do not want to budge on any of these issues, risking the quality of the game dropping even further. In addition to this, the game poses a risk of being banned as a toxic community, and people will think twice before even giving it a try, based on their experience around the game on social medias. Out of all of the ignorance in the community, there's 3 places which I feel breed the most anti-intellectualism, not only in the scope of Apex, but the rest of society. Kind of funny how that works. We've got Reddit, we got Facebook, we got YouTube. But let's talk about my favorite place on the internet, the front page of it, Reddit. Across most game communities, Reddit is usually considered a cesspool of casual stupidity, with the worst possible takes being regurgitated over and over again until they get tired of them and jump on something else. Art, cosplays, and plays by platinum console players are aplenty, while anything by not even streamers but skilled players gets downvoted or even ignored. Obviously, r/Apex Legends isn't much different than the rest of these places, but the reason I specifically bring up this subreddit is for a simple reason. This 1.5 million subscriber subreddit frequently puts streamers on blast. I don't know where the hatred towards skilled players began, but I just want to bring the type of stuff to do to the viewers' attention. Now, if you are unfamiliar with Reddit as a whole, it just propagates the whole hive mind mentality, where anything people agree with gets an upvote, a like, and if someone doesn't like what you say, you get a nice, juicy dislike, also called a downvote. This basically means that people very quickly learn what you're allowed to say, what you're allowed to think, and what's not allowed. This quickly leads to hive minds forming, and it's a majority rule. The majority obviously would be the casual user base. If one pro out of 100 casuals says, hey, golden knockdowns are a problem in competitive, they need to look at this, he might get maybe 1 upvote and then be bombarded with 99 downvotes, completely burying him and eventually making him leave the platform. Every subreddit has its own bubble, but across all games it sort of follows the same rule. Typical rule of Reddit: streamer bad, random player good. If you say anything negatively about a streamer, pro player, or any skilled player, to them that would be someone over 2 kills death ratio, you will get big chunks of upvotes. If you are supportive of any streamer or good player, you're a simp, you're a bootlicker, a D-sucker, and you can catch downvotes not only on that comment, but any other comment you made from the account as they look you up. This obviously usually follows with people feeling that they are in the right to harass the person they look them up, or they just respond to the comments, send them DMs with more and more targeted harassment. I'm getting ahead of myself. Again, this is pretty common as far as Reddit goes for any gamer community, but if you didn't didn't know how bad it gets, that hopefully gives you an idea. The thing that makes r/apexlegends different and sets a very dangerous precedent is the way to respond to anyone outside of their bubble. So, well, anyone who isn't a casual player. Opinions of good players, pros, streamers are constantly being posted, as they would. They're upvoted, but then they're criticized. Content by streamers, clips, montages, pop-ups, or even funny moments, just generally fun, good content is downvoted. It's riddled with hate, comments about how the streamer is toxic and just a horrible person. They go as far as to make things up about the streamer to continue dragging their name in the dirt just to get those nice upvotes and get the big chungus hive mind energy. I've had several run-ins with Reddit and have had my content being posted there. There's a famous accusation clip for over a year ago where I jumped a railing. People thought it was cheating because of a snap, because of an in-game mechanic. There's several clips I posted that have been met with harassment and hate, and there's even one of my tweets about free stacking. But the thing that really introduced me to the power of this hive mind was this video I made about a teammate that I got. This random teammate that I got in the champion screen said, "You can't win without me," and promptly left the game. I took the challenge and, well, I went down to win the game. I made a funny edit that I posted on YouTube, so if you want to check that out, it's in the description. I knew this video would do well on Reddit because of the revenge boners and the fact that, well, the dude left the game and it was funny. Lo and behold, we were looking at 18,000 upvotes hitting the front page of not only apexlegends but Reddit really fast. But the mods removed the video because Reddit, in their amazing fashion, looked up the guy using the guy's username and this poor teenager's social medias. They ridiculed him, they made fun of him, they found his Reddit, they spammed it, his YouTube spammed it, and allegedly he received even death threats in his DMs. It got dirty fast. All because the dude said something kind of toxic and left the game that was later won. This person wasn't even really that good. He wasn't a streamer nor a prolific person, just a random dude who felt like he wanted to take out his anger on unsuspecting TTV, which is funnily enough why the mods took it down, because of doxing rules. Now here's someone who's pretty notable. Rogue posted a tweet saying that if you're playing Revenant, you're admitting that you suck at the game. Now you can agree with this or not, but because of how rank plays out, playing Revenant and the Octane combo is considered incredibly lowbrow and cheap, as there isn't much risk, and most competitive players would agree. This tweet was screenshotted onto Reddit and instantly caught on fire. Editors were clanking down on Rogue hard, coming up with anything they can, from insults to his content to more personal insults. I guess Rogue leaned into it because later on he posted this TikTok and poked the bear.
Oh, did I get him? We'll be seeing you. Revenant.
If he hadn't already pissed off Reddit, now he's really done it. The casual players on Reddit were trying to contact NRG, his org, to get him cancelled, doubling down on the harassment and more. It's a public game, for God's sake. Finally, back on track, we're gonna be talking about something that's a lot more recent. This is an ongoing story. I think the first tweet was like 1 or 2 days ago. We're talking about Inhuman. Now this guy is not as notable as Rogue, but he still has a presence in the Apex community, usually tweeting over the top takes to troll the few casuals who scour Twitter. Inhuman posted this tweet and got not only 1 but 2 threads on the front page about this almost instantly. Reddit threads continue popping up as this story continues to develop. Now he has a story on Dexerto about what's happening, but the gist of it was Inhuman reaction farming pub players being upset about people leaving their games, because this is a very common complaint about the casual viewer base against, well, skill players, pros, etc. Inhuman is still facing harassment and is apparently receiving death threats in his business email, all because he's a so-called pro player and made fun of people being upset that someone left a public, no-stakes, casual game of Apex Legends. Other types of things you commonly see on the Apex subreddit are people putting down streamers and flaming them for playing on Sao Paulo, Lulu getting all types of hate, cheaters getting banned, coming back writing up fake stories like the Lulu situation about how a streamer cried to hideouts, got them banned despite them, stream sniping, cheating, boosting, or getting boosted. It's an incredibly toxic scene, and even though these stories have a lot of plot holes, Reddit just loves to jump on the streamer bad bandwagon and do everything in their power to harass streamers. We're gonna go really far back in time, and I'm gonna tell you guys about something that not a lot of people are talking about nowadays. We used to have something called the ban spreadsheet. Early in the game, before hideouts, before the report button, pros and content creators had a spreadsheet. It was managed by Wacko, who was on G2, I think he's retired now, and it was checked by Respawn employees several times a day. This spreadsheet had a list of names, clips for proof, and some more information which would lead to the cheaters being banned in record speed. This was introduced due to the insane amount of do-you and who-ya hackers plaguing the game and making it completely unplayable as a, well, normal player. Eventually, someone who got banned from this, he made a fuss on Reddit crying about how streamers get preferential treatment, and within not too long, the spreadsheet spreadsheet was taken away from content creators and pros, and the hackers started just flat out flooding the game again. The inhuman situation brings light to a big disconnect in the community between casuals and the pros. The casual player might drop save and play out every game like it's a serious deal, being completely content with 1 or 2 kills, getting second place or a win after 20 minutes of what I would call nothing. But a pro or a content creator has zero regard for the outcome of the individual game. It's a picker game, there are no stakes, there's no reward, and the only way to get better is putting yourself in an uncomfortable position and trying to get out of it. Casuals will be upset with people not only leaving the game, but playing aggressively or just playing the game they want. Let's just take a breather. As I'm writing the script for this video, I'm just overwhelmed, and I can talk about this subject for hours. God knows I do when I stream over on twitch.tv/Ottr, but my therapist says it's good to write your thoughts down, so here we are. Why is it like this? Why is the divide so big? Why does one side believe the other one is so insufferable? It's hard to say why or where it all. I think the problems lie in the fact that it's a battle royale. I know streamers get a lot of flack in Warzone as well, but I think the matchmaking, the SBMM, is a big reason why we are in this position. The casuals are either constantly killed by pro players, by streamers, good players, or put in the same team as them, and while the casuals are expecting a free carry or free win, the pro players just doesn't care and might even leave the game if they get knocked or whatever. This grounds for resentment, but it's not fair to expect either side to expect that they're gonna get catered to. Casuals expect pro players to try hard in public matches and carry them to the win, and pro players expect the casuals to just deal with it and stop complaining about them leaving, or just generally stop caring so much about public games. Thing is, these two groups probably never should have been matched together in the first place. I know it's a battle royale and all, but because of the way SBMM expects good players playing solo to carry their dogwater teammates, and because of the general matchmaking placing those unbalanced teams against full stacks of even better players, you get a breeding ground for resentment as the casuals constantly just get the short end of the stick. When you are feeling like you're being treated unjustly, odds are you will act out and have emotional reactions to completely, well, reasonable things. Take other games for example. Overwatch, Counter-Strike, League of Legends. Yeah, these games are notoriously toxic due to their competitive nature, but you never see the randoms flaming their professional teammates who just happen to get into the games. That's because the matchmaking didn't place Get Right with a 10-year-old who only played the game for an hour. Get Right has several players in the top ranks of the game on his team, and the opposite teams are around the same elo. Sure, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better, and there's no unrealistic expectations of Get Right carrying the rest of his level 1 team against the entirety of Fnatic. It was a while since I followed Counter-Strike, okay? So what can be done? I'm not even sure if anything can be done about the situation, except maybe talking about it. Bringing light to both sides of the situation might bridge the gap just a little bit. Fixing matchmaking, stopping the big brother backpack matchmaking might help the community situation, but it might make the game unplayable if you have a high KD. I'm honestly not sure if there's any precautions that can be made on a developer level since the issue lies in the community, but I'm curious to hear what you guys in the comments think can be done. Because I think that even if Respawn makes a lot of efforts to separate the professional and the casual community, there's been 2 years of radicalization on both sides of this matter, and we will need time and understanding to mend the gaps between these two groups. Respawn has made a fairly decent job of trying to balance for both of the player bases, and I can't imagine this has been an easy task. I want to say that the reason the casuals take this stance is because of the matchmaking, but the lack of understanding in the game and the anti-intellectualism we see in society today may be at play, where people who are smarter or more educated in the matter are disregarded because the casuals or the less educated want to protect their feelings. They want to be right. It's a natural subconscious response. Trying to educate might be a good way to reach these types of people and make them understand why changes are being made. Explaining how the game works at a high level and how balancing decisions factors in both the high and the low levels of Apex is hard, but it might be necessary to keep everyone happy. I've spent too much time arguing with people who have their opinions set on emotions instead of logic when I could have tried to educate instead. In a way, this video serves both as a rant and an educational purpose. As a quick aside, this video has nothing to do with the video posted yesterday about Caustic needing a nerf. It was a joke about his smoke randomly clipping through a wall. This has nothing to do with that. This talk has had a long time coming and has been building up for almost 2 years. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button so more people can hear about this issue. I've been discussing and talking about these types of issues and hundreds of others for hundreds of hours in total since I started streaming Apex on Twitch, so there's a lot of thoughts to pull from. If this video is well enough received, I might make more videos on these types of matters, so just let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Once again, smash the like button. I'll see you all tomorrow. Hey,